So hot.
Welcome back to the Inside Out Show, everyone. This is your host, Leonard McDonald. We're going to get these introductions out of the way and then hit this topic head on. So, of course, ladies first.
Hey, this is Curly from Miami.
How you doing, everybody? This is Erica.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is Biz. Yeah.
And of course, this is Mr. Controversy himself, Jermaine.
Oh, no.
AKA Email.
And again, this is Leonard McDonald, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Tonight's topic is a cry for help. I am only going to say this one time because most of the time when I get into a topic like this, I have to reiterate so people understand where I'm coming from. But we only have an hour, so how people feel about what they think I may be saying or may not be saying, I don't have time to worry about that because it's something we got to hit head on and really drive the point home. So a cry for help. Domestic violence is kind of out of control. Basically, if I run some stats at you, every year 1 in 3 women are victims of homicide and they're murdered by their current or former partner. It goes back and forth from both sides. It's more towards women, but still men are the victims also. This topic came about basically because of the whole situation with the Kansas City Chiefs. Jovan Belcher, the linebacker, killed his girlfriend, Cassandra Perkins, and then wound up killing himself at the stadium. So, of course, this week and next week was supposed to be something that our boy Biz was taking care of, but this kind of took precedence because of just how recent it is and the conversations that have been going on about it. So we want to hit this up. We want to ask you, Erica, yes, you. How do people find themselves in situations that escalate to domestic violence?
Okay. How people find themselves in this situation? You know, I used to think that it was more like a self-esteem issue, that, you know, someone had, you know, a lack of self-esteem, which put them in a position to be abused either physically or mentally, emotionally by somebody else, male or female. But I think I start to understand that it's not even just per se what someone thinks is a low self-esteem. It's just basically just not realizing who you really are. Not to say that you think you're not worth it. It's just not realizing who your true worth. Not that you think so bad of yourself, but you don't realize how valuable you really are. And, you know, putting yourself or allowing yourself to get in a situation. And then when you see these warning signs or you see these signals that come to you by circumstances and brush them aside and thinking, well, it's not that bad in the beginning before the stuff really hits the fan. You know, you let the little things slide. You think it's just that because of this one particular thing, or so-and-so was having a bad day, or, you know, something like that. You're missing the key signs, the warnings that are there ahead of time, and you're letting your emotions get in the way, and you're not using your rational senses to know it's time to separate yourself from someone.
Oh, you're looking at me. Okay. I would have to agree with Erica. Definitely missing warning signs. I'll put myself out there. My previous relationship with my son's father was a very violent one. And when in retrospect, I can see all the warning signs that I missed. You know, the escalating voice when he would get upset. You know, throwing things, not at me, but, you know, throwing things at the time when we were dating, you know, before I got pregnant with my son. I missed those warning signs because I was, you know, quote unquote in love, and I didn't pay attention to those things like I should have. You know, now I know the moment I see certain things in a man, I'll know that, hey, I can't, you know, mess with this dude anymore. But definitely just missing warning signs and not paying attention to things like that because you're so in love with someone.
Wow. Can I have the question once again?
Really?
No, not really. I know what the question is. I mean, I'm not really into words right now. I kind of want it to go around once again, because domestic violence isn't really so much, looked at from the male's perspective. It's usually the women or the woman that is the victim. So I want to say from a guy's perspective, and both the woman it comes from a place of just, that needing to be wanted, that feeling of, this person cares about me. And like the ladies were saying, there are some warning signs that you miss with the individual that you're in a relationship with, and warning signs that, you miss about yourself. People who are usually in relationships, there's usually like a pattern. There is something that started, in their past that kind of leads up to them, dating certain kind of individuals. I mean, I know coming up, a lot of the attractive women that we liked, myself and friends, they had a tendency of dating the quote unquote the bad boys. And, you would wonder, why is such a beautiful young lady like that want the guy that's always being kicked out of class? He's running from the cops. He has a reputation, but it seems like those were the guys who always had all the girls. And, now that I'm a little bit older, you look at, okay, what was the reason that, she seemed to want, to be with a guy like that? So I said that to say this, that, it's two sides of the coin. It is the warning signs of a young lady getting with a guy who, really isn't mature, doesn't know how to, deal with situations. And then there is the other side where there's a young lady who is looking for something in the wrong place, if you will. So, I mean, there's a lot of avenues to it. All right, people, it's a 4-way section. Let's drive.
All right, that's what's up. I say what everybody's touched on that I really, really feel is very strong as those warning signs. Like, it usually, I would say from the position, it sucks a lot, because a lot of people who are in these situations, or if they happen to make it out of these situations, over time, they don't even realize or learn what the warning signs were until 4 or 5 relationships down the line, and then like 12 years later, and then it's like, yeah, when you see a dude doing X, Y, and Z and doing these type of things, more than likely, it's gonna be a physically abusive relationship. Like, even at the same time, men, even as young boys, like, it's one thing that kind of sucks with like single mothers. A young boy will try his mother. You know what I'm saying? Like, he'll try just to see how far he can get away with it. And that's not to say like it's definitely not the case that every single male grow up with a single mother is abusive, but just that, like, trying a woman, like, just to see how far he can go, or how far he can push her, or what he can say to her. And a certain woman who knows who she is, like, is not gonna take it. Like, you ain't gonna talk to me any kind of way. And just because of that, there are that at the very beginning, because she won't take it, that kind of woman would more than likely would not find herself in the same situation. In that type of relationship. Dang, man, I had like 3 more good points and I really just forgot them. So I'm sorry.
Well, my first thing I want to say is I don't condone violence in any kind of way whatsoever from a man to a woman. I believe it's something that should never happen. There's never an excuse for it. But my standpoint is like Jermaine, there's 2 sides to the story, There are men out there who just do it, and that's just a part of themselves that they haven't worked on, or they have no desire to work on. But then there are also other men who just find themselves in that situation where they've been pushed, and whether it was the person that they release on or not, they've gotten to that point and it wasn't recognized that they were there. And now this unfortunate thing has happened. I think in most cases it's a lack of self-respect, but without knowing that they're not respecting themselves. Nowadays, how many people are opening their car door for a girl, and how many girls expect it, So it's a sign of disrespect, not intentionally, but unintentionally, and then it's accepted, and it just goes down through the generations. You know, I remember hearing stories about someone tried to pull up and date my mom. They honked the horn in the yard. Like, what's wrong with them? But nowadays, that's the norm. So it's a matter of getting back to understanding what love is, first and foremost, and then understanding what respect is. And even though I don't want anyone to think, oh, you don't respect yourself because you're not allowing this. I think a lot of people just don't know. They don't experience it, you know? So for me, that's what I think it is, just a complete lack of respect that we as men need to get back on our jobs. But then again, I believe I said this in another show, you know, chivalry isn't dead unless women killed it. If a woman doesn't expect these things, that man is not going to do it. In most cases, because he wasn't taught to. So,
I gotta say, I can't fully agree with that. I can definitely because it is for the most part up to the woman to choose or reject. You know what I'm saying? Like it's up to her. Like if a dude step to her, it's up to her to say, you know, yes or no. Mm-hmm. And I mean, the real fact of it is like, you know, man, dudes know when they can't get a woman. Dudes know when they been shut down. You know, you feel that way in the stomach,
in the toes.
But at the same time, I definitely can't say 100% because God has called men to initiate. Initiate meaning take that first step at all times. That means in all ways we are leading. So even if a woman does not accept that from jump, does not accept the quote unquote chivalry or these, you know, chivalrous actions that was brought about by the medieval period. Look, this is just the way how to love. This was it from the very beginning. This is the revelation we got on love. So whether you accept it or not, we still gonna do it because we're men, and that's a standard that we keep as men of God. Plain and simple. Give me a piece of chicken now. Thank you. That was just fun.
So, about this threshold I'm talking about, what is a threshold, and in what ways do men and women cross it?
When you say the threshold, you mean that
line.
breaking point, that line where you've been pushed, that great area that no one sees until her eyes or your eyes go red. Okay. Yeah. Wow. A lot of it now that I'm more mature, it is a factor of maturity because, I mean, if you look at man and a woman coming together to be one unit, all right, you can have your Christian, which before they get together, they've grown. They've understand themselves, how to love God, then they know how to love another woman, and vice versa, a woman to a man. Or if you go about it, that's a lot better. If you go about it in an unsaved, you know, view of it, you have just two people coming together, and there's still, you know, that area of no one has really grown. It's just, you know, coming together based off of I like her, she likes me, we want to be together. And there is that still that place of I don't really know who I'm getting to deal with. You know what I mean? And at first they can put on the front for you. You know, they do everything you like because it's the early start of a relationship. And, you know, you get to a point where sometimes you don't even know you're pushing a button. Then a sign shows up. It could just be like, you know, for men, some of us, it could just be like we go quiet. We don't say anything. You know what I'm saying? We don't say nothing. And then for the woman, you know, she probably's like, you know, she probably doesn't even notice it, but she's like, you know, you ain't saying nothing. But she's asking another question or she's just doing something. It's a lot of tugging and pulling. And I really want to say that, you know, it's just that we don't understand each other. We haven't invested enough time to get an understanding of each person's character and personality. Thank you, Holy Ghost. We haven't learned, and this is for people who saved, you know what this is, and if you're not saved, we'll kind of give you a little information on it, is understanding people's motivational gifts. Mm-hmm. Some people are servers, some people are exhorters, administrators, and the flip side to that on a more, you know, non-save lingo, is just understanding people's personalities. I mean, you know, you can have someone who is a fun-going comedic personality. He's with someone who's not fun-going. They don't find that funny, you know, and there's going to be a clash. Even though they say opposites attract, you still just have to understand who you're dealing with, who you're dating, what's this person's likes and dislikes, because that threshold, sometimes it gets crossed, you don't know. And then someone like myself, I don't mind crossing the threshold, because I feel like you really get to know a person when they're angry and when they're down, when they're out. You just really get to see them naked in the sense of them shedding who they really are. So I want to just say, investing that time of getting to know the individual, the relationship part that doesn't include, the relations.
Praise God, no emails this evening. Yeah.
You got mail.
I really want to jump on what you were talking about, the motivational gifts, and even still just like really breaking it down, because some people can say like, oh, like this person over here is a stick in the mud. No one ever want to do nothing. Or they don't never want to talk to anybody. And you know what? There are some people that's just the way God made them, and that is perfectly okay. You know what? And we really need to learn and see what those kind of people have to offer that we don't offer, because there's a way that we're made up that is beneficial to others, a way that they're made up that is beneficial to others. But just like you said, if we don't know from the gate that people are made up differently and not everybody is meant to be like us, number one, we wouldn't go out trying to change everybody to make themselves like us.
Women.
No comment.
Whatever.
But yeah, because that also plays a huge part in relationships. Like somebody will come into a relationship and on the DL, on that sneak tip, that thought in the back of the corner of the brain be like, all right, you know what? You cool. But there's this list of 15 things that I don't like about you. And over time, I'm going to slowly start to bring them out. And if you don't start to change, I'm just going to get angry with you. And we're going to have a whole bunch of arguments. And when you ask me why I'm angry, I'm just going to make up something else to talk about what you did the other day. But the underlying truth that I really can't accept you for who you are, and I have not been taught to love you for who you are, that is the truth. You know what I'm saying? Now, at the same time, when we're talking about opposites attract, is like it is a yes and a no, because two people leading like totally different lifestyles. Nah, y'all may be attracted to your differences, but you can't walk together. It's just not gonna happen. You got two things pulling you in two different directions. However, two people with two different personality types, at a lot of times when you see people in marriages, you will see one who is more outgoing and the other who is a little more reserved. You will see one that is maybe extremely good with numbers and the other one who is just better at talking with people.
Right.
That happens a lot. So I mean, when it comes to opposites in that manner, yeah. But just like you were saying, like in terms of opposites, like, hey, you know what? I'm living to be an astronaut, and that's what I'm gonna do. And I've had that dream since I was a kid, and an astronaut is what I'm gonna be. And the other person's like, you know what? I want to be like Magellan, and I want to travel the world in 180 days, and I'm gonna keep doing it until the day I die. You can't be in two places. You know what I'm saying? And as a marriage, you can't walk in unity, and you're supposed to walk in unity. So you know what I'm saying? You need to take a step back from that. Now, to the original point of the question, where Leonard was talking about what is a threshold. A threshold, like, all right, since I'm tech over at Nissan, when we got a catalytic converter code, it's a PO 420, lets you know that your cat is bad, and all you people going to AutoZone, take notes. That is the standard, or so to say, the threshold where the numbers are not meeting what they're supposed to meet. So you have, what do you have? You've got hydrocarbons and oxygen being burned in the cylinder, and when it hits that catalytic converter, you're supposed to have 5 different gases coming out of the other side. When you do not have a certain percentage of these 5 gases, your threshold is broken. So when somebody's getting pushed in the corner of their personality and you pushing them above that threshold, like, look, I can tolerate about so much of you cursing this kind of way, or I can tolerate, so much of you trying to push me to a point where I'm not supposed to be, or not
you're trying to change me.
Yeah, basically. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, when it's put like that, that's somebody's threshold. And I think one thing, two things, in terms of men, the one thing that men need, respect. Like, dude, a man can only be tolerant. I don't even want to say tolerant, bump tolerant. You can only be disrespected so much, man. Like that's how we spell love, you know what I'm saying? Like, so even just if I ask you something and you don't talk back to me, or you want to talk back to me with some attitude, like, dude, you for real? You do that all the time? Yeah, man. Just blup, blup. That's exactly what it feel like.
You got mail.
And for women, like even though this super independent women tip is going on and has been going on, like past couple decades, when a man can't provide for them the way that they're supposed to, I'm not even just talking about financially or whatever they could do, but when you can't provide for her emotionally, and at the same time, I'm not talking about you supposed to be her end all and be all. Man can't be your everything, so don't get it twisted. But he does have a job to do, and there is a certain role that a man can fulfill that a woman will never be able to fulfill. You know what I'm saying? And those type of things, when people are pushed overboard in those places, that can break somebody past their threshold. And I think one of the main things that can cause that in a relationship, I'm not even talking about just dating or in marriage, or just even as friends, co-workers, any kind of relationship, is a lack of communication. Not only a lack of understanding and knowledge on how we are made up, but a lack of communication. Like, hey, you know what? Instead of, you've offended me and I'm just going to stay mad and I'm going to make some insults at you and I'm going to stay over here in the corner and I'm going to throw stuff at you. But when it comes to just talking out a problem, I can't do that. And that goes on a lot today. And that's why I think some dudes just swing on a woman. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Instead of like, hey, you know what? Like, look, you can't be doing this anymore, or I really feel disrespected when you do this. Instead it's, oh, go upside your head, blah, 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 blah. No?
Well, I'm a ride with you right quick before the ladies chime in, because I feel like y'all gonna get it.
Yeah, we're gonna have to run up out of here.
These my boys, so I gotta go down with them. So I'm gonna just ride with you on one point that both of y'all made about women trying to change dudes. Like, you can't do it. If they're a certain way, when they see that broke down man and he's just doing all kind of bad for himself, then you like, I can fix that. You can't. And even if you do, what you wind up doing is fixing him from somebody else, because
demasculating.
Yeah. So now your issue is he won't do anything for himself. But like Pastor said, you can't treat a man like a kid and expect him to be a man. No. So if you feel like you need to fix him, then he's not a man to you, he's a project. So after you fix him, now you want him to be a man, but you've been treating him like a project. So that's my little 2 cents for the ladies' time in. So come on, come. We ready.
Ooh, thank goodness I'm a woman that likes my card already standard made. No fixer-upper. I'll just probably add some upgrades, but that's about it.
So you want a DVR, not a husband?
Just joking. But I'm gonna go back to what Biz was saying. Definitely communication. I think sometimes the reason why our threshold is even pushed is because there is no communication. When someone does something to us and we feel like there's a problem, then it's best if we make sure that person knows this is a problem area, and and pray that person understands this is a problem area. Maybe I need to work on how I'm saying this to this person, or what I'm doing to this person to tick them off or something like that. And I think that's one of the problem areas. We don't communicate about it. We don't talk about it. And people keep pushing buttons, and then you go off on the deep end when that could have been avoided from the beginning if we had just communicated that.
Okay. I've been sitting back listening. No.
She hit me earlier. Y'all ain't see it, but
Stick and move.
No, I've just been listening, and a lot of the points I really do agree with. And again, yes, communication is a key. I think most times when we think domestic violence, or what pushes people to the point of abuse, we always initially go for a physical type of thing. And I promise you that probably more often than not, there's more cases of an emotional abuse than an actual physical abuse. There's emotional abuse going on long before a physical act takes place. So you want to look at the things that are causing you to break someone else's spirit, basically. For a married couple, I'll start with them. Their purpose, as been said, is a union, two people becoming one. That means you're uplifting the other person. You're making sure this person's dreams and visions and purposes are coming to pass. And if you're an attack on the person's emotional state, it's just a way of destroying them from the inside out. And a way that they do that is you as you are in a relationship with someone, when someone has a pet peeve, when you're getting under someone's skin, something that's going to break them, because as you spend more time together, as you develop a relationship, in any fashion, in the saved or unsaved, as you spend more time with people, you get to know them, you understand their life, where they've been. So then you have the ammunition to use against someone else. But the thing is that information that you're giving, you shouldn't use it as a destructive manner. You're supposed to love them through some of those things, not use it as a tool for your benefit. I mean, I guess if that makes sense to people, you're using it as a tool for for your benefit. Like if I know Leonard is sensitive about a certain area in his life, we're friends. And
wow,
yeah, kind of choked coming out. Yeah, we're friends. And, he might share something personal with me, and I know that this is an issue for him. But then, okay, Leonard might have said something that most likely said something that, may have rubbed me the wrong way. But if I want to use that as now a tool against him, that's not showing love to him. I'm trying to...
ammunition?
Yeah, I'm trying to take you out verbally. And that's 9 times out of 10, that's mostly where it starts at. Most of it is verbal attacks. And when we were saying before, the warning signs, are littered all over the place, but you just choose to ignore it. You say, oh, he really didn't mean that. Yeah, he did. She was just having a bad day. No. That's an excuse that you're using to continue to fill some need or some void that you think this relationship or this contact with this person is providing for you. And that's basically where it usually starts. So that threshold, after time of continually getting that emotional, jabs, those emotional attacks, that'll cause somebody to eventually snap and cross over to that other place that they probably had no intention of really going to. A lot of times you see these stories, you think these people, have been abusive for years and years and years, but you have these stories where people are like, I don't even know how I got there. They're like, I don't even know how I got there. It's just after time, those things just keep building up. And then all of a sudden you have something like what happened here in South Florida, someone waiting for someone to come out of their church and then just, kill them. Just straight killed her.
No, he didn't kill her.
She's still alive.
She's alive. Oh, she's alive.
He killed himself.
He killed himself.
Yeah, he killed
Yes.
Praise the Lord.
I want to go back because you said the word verbal attacks. And for me, the way I view it is, okay, over 4 million women every year are assaulted by their partner and almost 3 million men. So it's not as skewed as people think it is, where it's like 1 man to 100 women. It's that high. But my question is, do women verbally attack men the way that they do it so harshly because they can't match a man physically?
Oh,
On
yes.
average,
I'm letting ladies answer first.
Oh, yeah.
I'm letting ladies anscer first.
Okay, I've been guilty of it in the past.
You're guilty now.
No. But, yeah, hitting below the belt, oh, yeah. It hurts to the core. Yeah, I would say that in my mouth just to make you feel the pain. When you said something or did something to me, yeah.
So it's like, you can hit me harder, then I can hit you. But I got a mouth on me.
Ooh, yes.
Okay.
And
That'll
sometimes
cut
it's
you
not
to the
even that you
core.
really have a mouth on you per se. It's just women, we have that gift of
That's not a gift.
Yeah.
no, not to be attacked,
Amen,
but just
Pastor.
a verbal gift. We have the
Well, yeah, they do say women communicate better than men.
we communicate better. So most
What?
likely our attacks are going to
so,
happen more
yeah.
verbally than physically. I mean, granted, there are some women out there that you really do not want to run up on, but
Oh, yeah.
9 times out of 10, they're going to come at you in a verbal manner. They're going to cut you deep. They're going to cut you where it hurts. Because those are the things that we pay attention to as women. Those are the things that we see, those things that trouble the men in our lives. We see those things. We sense them. It's part of our makeup. So that's our number one arsenal.
I'm sorry,
word.
Jermaine.
Blah, 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 blah. We're gonna get you with the words.
Oh, really?
I mean, I've done it too in the past. Like I also have been guilty of shredding a man to pieces.
Okay.
Verbally.
Shred 'em.
Okay, wait. I got to stop
Every
this
woman.
right now.
And liking it.
I know, Janae, I know you got something to say. And I said I wasn't going to reiterate myself, but I believe because of what I'm about to say, I need to let it be known I don't condone violence, men against women. But from what I'm hearing, it sounds like you guys are like lashing out.
They're initiating it.
Yes.
Yes. I'm so passionate about this. I'm stuttering.
Jermaine, do you
about
feel like a victim?
Yes.
Are we lashing out, or is it a response to something that has been
There you go.
that has been brought on?
There it
But you
is.
just
Pump the
said
brakes,
that
stop the music.
You lashing out, breaking them down.
Shredding.
Based on
No, she
something
said
All you
else.
did was
shred.
be quiet.
She
Yeah, I
used the
said
word
shred.
shred. You know what a
Yes,
shred does?
shred.
You remember the shredder from the
I
Ninja
was about to
Turtles?
say that.
Shred. You know what a shredder does?
Yeah, and did you see the smirk?
Yes. Did you see their faces light up?
That was
They levitated in the booth.
flashback that she remembered a thought
Yes.
that she was proud of.
And I just want to add that is so true. And I have sisters, I have a mother, I have just collectively a lot of female friends, and women, for some reason, and I can feel that guys, we might not do as harsh as a woman does, but when a woman just, unloads her arsenal, it's heavy. And for some reason, that's how it is with women. I've learned this just by watching my sisters go back and forth with each other, watching them go back and forth with my brother, even myself. Women, out the gate, this is just how I feel, they go straight for the jugular.
Yes.
They don't send no warning shots. They don't say, put your hands up, put your hands out the window. They just blast off.
Were there no warning shots, or
There
did you
was-
just not notice?
Oh, he didn't notice.
No,
He didn't notice the warning.
No. See, this is what y'all gonna turn into. I understand that. With women, there's usually the build up.
Yes.
However, we're men. We're not like that. We don't know the build up is there.
No,
It's
this is the
usually
build-up. This is the build-up. What's wrong, honey?
Nothing.
Nothing.
See?
Yes. See?
So you should know there's something.
And
at
there's
that
two
point.
different things. For a man, if a woman says to me, "What's wrong, honey?" Nothing. Nothing's really wrong. I just want to watch the game and I want you to stop talking. If you say to a woman, "What's wrong, honey?" Nothing. But really it's, "I'm tired. My feet hurt. My back ache. Why you don't change this light? How long is it going to take you to paint the garage?"
No, you skipped some parts. It's really, you need to ask me what's wrong 35 more times, and
Amen.
then I'll tell you one thing.
Exactly.
But you
Exactly.
can continue. I just have
But
to get it out of my
also-
chest.
I just want to say that that's how it is with women. Like, I mean, I used to be with my friends. We used to promote at a club, all right? And for some reason, every Wednesday, that was our promotional night, and it was ladies' night, there was always a fight with women. And nowadays, women, they travel in packs. Like, they travel in gangs.
Hyenas.
That's just how I feel. They travel, not sophisticated hyenas, independent hyenas.
that can talk.
Yes, and then they look very attractive. However,
I'm really.
I said that to say this, to continue with the story. And, every night there would be a fight. And this is something that I learned by just observing. Men, we fight for respect. We fight to say, "Hey, look, I felt that you disrespected me. I had to prove you." Hence why we have boxing. Women, to me, I feel they just fight to kill. Because, I would literally see women take off their shoes and attack each other. I remember there was one young lady. She was being, jumped on by some other group of girls. She got away, got into her car, and reversed her car into the crowd. Would a man do that?
No.
I think not.
Oh, no.
And I mean, I don't want to say women are bad or anything like that. I'm just saying we did that for maybe like 3 months, and it was, a consistent Wednesday of girls fighting from inside the club to brawls outside the club, girls pulling hair out, women just attacking each other. And from then on, that's just how I viewed it. When I know a woman has a threshold and a breaking point in a build-up, but I think their build-up just explodes into just chaos and a holocaust.
You just made me feel bad, right. But go ahead, dude.
All right. First things first, Jermaine, your inbox is full. All right.
Oh.
No. I really think that even still, what's going on all around this room when considering about what y'all were talking, which is, I mean, ladies all around the world, y'all can say this is very true, that when a man will ask, hey, what's going on? A lot of times the answer is nothing. Now, on the man's side, men need to do a better job at looking at how a woman communicates, straight up. Like, we could do a better job of knowing, hey, these are the telltale signs that there is something going on, and sadly to say, there are only so many men who actually go to the point of understanding, how a woman is made up to actually know these things. And a lot of the ones who do understand it just do it just to get in bed with them. Yeah. That's like, look, you understand how a woman is emotionally, so you say this and this. You understand what a woman likes to hear, so you say this and this, but it's really just to sleep with them. You know what I'm saying? It's not for the benefit of edifying them as a woman or, building them up just the way they should be. On the other hand, women, they... No, because a lot of people don't know that. We're going to break that down, though. But women, even still on the other hand, y'all, like 80% of how somebody speaks usually is through body language. Women read body language a lot better than men do. Amen. You know what I'm saying? So, and for the simple fact that if y'all know that y'all read that much better than we do, don't come around doing like 15 different things with your mouth shut and expecting a man to be able to read minds. We don't operate like that. We are very logical. So if I ask you something's wrong, the logical answer is to tell me something is wrong. That's how we see it. And when we see that you don't making sense, we just say in our head, dang, y'all dumb. Y'all don't make no sense. And then we go.
I don't say that.
And then we, yeah. I mean,
tell the truth, shame the devil.
I don't say that.
No, okay.
I'm in between them.
Okay. Man, not, you know what I'm saying? Not in that sense, but it's just like, all right, basically, what's wrong with you? Like, look, I ain't got a problem. If you got a problem, when you want to talk, you say something. Till then, the game is on. I'm gonna go wash my car. I'm gonna go do whatever, hang out with my boys, and when you ready to talk, I already asked you 5 times. If you ain't saying nothing, what you want me to do? And that's really, you know what I'm saying, communication on both sides, because men and women really need to know how each other operate. Dang, I had to say this again, is relationships are all over the place. It is not just in terms of a marriage or a girlfriend or boyfriend. It can be brother or sister, co-worker, non-co-worker. You hop on the bus, how the bus driver feeling? He's a man or she's a woman, so you know probably a way that they would speak through their body language or through their regular language as a man operating to a woman just by knowing some key things about the opposite sex. But that is definitely communication, and that's an area all of us, just as humans, we need to step up in.
Well, a big part of communication is listening. And you hit it on point about the body language. Because if you know someone, you can read their body language to some extent. And when they say nothing, you can say, well, I know how you usually are in certain days, or when you flip your third blade to the left over, you're annoyed. So it seems like you're annoyed. I just want to know what's going on. And a lot of times, if you pay attention like that, they feel like you love them, you care about them, so they'll open up to you. But it's on them, I feel, the most in communication, because they communicate better. All we know is like you said, for the most part, what's up? Oh, nothing? All right. Yeah. It seemed like something, but you don't want to talk, so I'm going to go do something else. Because y'all have that mouth. that will sometimes pop off. If I keep, I told you nothing is wrong. Go head on somewhere. But they'll just shut up, leave. You know, you're on the couch tonight. You know, stuff like that. It's almost like you're walking on eggshells because you want to know what's going on, but at the same time, you know the wrath of a woman that you don't want to feel. And women definitely need to step it up in that department. But what I really wanted to get across, I never said what a threshold was for me.
Apparently we know.
To me, a threshold is, you know, like Biz said with the car demonstration, you know, it's a limit. You know, once this threshold has been passed, I am no longer responsible for what happens because I don't operate past this threshold. So I'm not used to being there, so I don't yet know how to control myself there. That's pretty much a threshold. A threshold is somewhere where you're not there all the time. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be difficult to control yourself when you get there because you're not there enough to, well, some people get angry quite a bit. but at the same time, when women will say things to a man that a man would never say to a woman because he'd be like, she would kill me if I said something like that because that's so hurtful.
Yeah, that's true.
On the other hand, a woman will say it and then look at you like, now what? And then when now what occurs, like the incident in Cleveland with the bus driver, the bus driver uppercutted the girl and then threw off the bus and then grabbed her stuff and threw her stuff on her.
Oh, you can.
And and the bus driver was wrong. Like, I mean, she was nagging him, she hit him, she spit on him, but she ain't hurt him, you know? It was a respect thing. He was wrong, he shouldn't have hit her. But when she was in the interview saying she was surprised that he hit her, I was like, you hit him, you spit on him, you was talking junk for quite you passed the line that was on the bus. So she passed the line that the bus made, and then she passed his line, and then the effect of her cause occurred, and she ain't understand why. You know, like, come on, like that's the thing that I want people, women more so, to pay attention to, because on the flip side of that, when a man can do more damage to a woman, which is why that I'm not gonna say it was Curly and Erica's excuse. I'm gonna just say it's an excuse that's out there. that the verbal attacks are
You just see words running across their faces.
The verbal attacks are so vicious because they can't hit you the way that you can hit them, but they can talk to you in a manner that will feel like they hit you the way that you could hit them. Mm-hmm. But my thing is, if I wasn't gonna hit you in the first place, why you gotta talk to me like that?
Yeah, but if hitting women is the average nowadays,
that's another thing we need to talk about, because it is, and like he said, it's an average. There nowadays, I mean, women they expect it. They're ready to fight. Men, it's to the point now. It's like they're ready to go there. Before, it used to be, you know, it would be like, you know, a cardinal sin, one of the top 3.
Yeah, straight on.
But now it's almost like, look, you gotta. They've even dumbed it down to where it's like, don't punch or hit her, you shake her, or you hit her in the top of her head in her hair so the police can't see it. I mean.
Wow.
It's and that's where things have really gotten out of hand, to where something that, you know, was frowned upon greatly is now, you know, it's like a, hey, you should expect it. You know, I'm Chad Johnson. You know, we won't get into it, but I'm just saying. I mean,
I think what it comes to is something you said this earlier, was that men spell, they define love by respect. And whether women admit it or not, whether they understand why they're doing something, they understand the best way to attack you is to attack the level of respect
Yep.
that they're going to
disrespect you.
So y'all know the root and y'all go see them.
No, I'm not saying not all of them
straight.
are aware. Not everyone is aware of the root of it. They might not, have a mental knowledge of it, but they, to say, oh, it's because this way it's an actual disrespect of you. They might not be able to put it in those terms because they might not have gotten that kind of revelation or understanding on it yet. I mean, but they understand that is how you guys, in general, if we can, well, not we, because I'm not part of that, but if they can cut you down to a certain level, that's, like you said, that's our form of physical attack. That's our attack when we feel we're being attacked. So it's a thing of, and I understand, it's a lack of maturity on both sides. There's a lack of maturity on the men. It's a lack of maturity on the women. I'll start with first, to be able to communicate the issues to the man. Right. They're just gonna attack. Okay, and it's also a lack of maturity on the men to issue enough self-control.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I
mean, it should be you men. If you want to be called a man, if you're going to define yourself as a man, if you're going to categorize yourself as a man, you have to be able to control yourself under any circumstance. Now, granted, if someone is consistently poking you, I know everybody does have a breaking point, but then there's a point where you have to remove yourself. You have to use enough wisdom and have enough knowledge and have enough self-awareness of who you are and what you can take to remove yourself from situations. Women as well. And I just think that's the issue. Men, level of self-control needs to go up exponentially. And women, a control over your mouth.
Exponentially.
Well, we got to get to the results. Otherwise, we're just talking about the issue. And it runs deep. There's another whole avenue dealing with kids that I really wanted to hit. So I'm just going to apologize right now to you, Biz. I'm going to make it up to you. But we got to continue this next week because we have to get to a way to fix this problem. So how do we execute a Christian call to arms? Because it's on us as Christians to aid people in this area. Most of the times, the problem, like we said, is communication. But the biggest part of the communication that's the issue is not listening. No one can stand not being listened to. I had an issue that happened at work today, and the lady at the store, I don't know what department she worked in, but she asked me a question, and when I tried to answer her question, she got annoyed. And she didn't understand what I was saying, so I was trying to get her to understand what I was saying, and she was like, well, whatever, I'll just call your manager. I mean, that didn't bother me. Her issue wasn't with me. Her issue was with the other guy, with what he did. But what he did wasn't anything wrong. But she didn't want to listen to what I had to say, and I was like, you're not listening to me. Then I followed her, like, look. I was like, look, you can't ask me a question and then not let me answer it.
That's another thing they
That's
good
a
at.
one-sided question.
You gonna listen to me? You gonna listen to me?
That's another thing they good at.
And so when I called up to him, I was like, hey, look, you can't ask me something and then not want to listen to what I'm saying because that's a one-sided conversation. She gave me another excuse that didn't make any sense, and I was just like, all right, whatever. And I left and just went to finish doing my job. So when you have people who feel like that constantly, all the time, every single day, they're already teetering on a cliff, so to speak, about to drop. And we as Christians are supposed to be there for them to know that they can talk to. I mentioned before, I had a friend who wouldn't say anything to me until I let him know that something was going on with me. And then he opened up. So as Christians, I feel like we need to make ourselves more available, more relatable to, instead of always being looked at as we're just going to condescend people, tell them how horrible they are, tell them all their mistakes. We need to address the fact that you can talk to me so that if they're having issues in their relationships, they can go to someone grounded who will be there, who will take that stand with them and grab hold to them and keep them from falling down that pit where now they wind up in a situation where this threshold has been crossed. What's up, bitch?
Hi.
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 Hola.
Okay. I'm going to speak about what Christians should be doing because I am one. So no, this
Hallelujah.
is straight up. This is a real good time. Not only to inform people, this is a good time for me to preach to myself because this is going to help me stay on point. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of times we need to hear ourselves speak the word to ourselves and what the Lord has told us because what we've been hearing, Sunday and Wednesday just doesn't cut it. You know what I'm saying? To be able to grow and to be able to lead somebody, you better be leading them to the right place. And in terms of helping break down this thing with domestic violence, at one point we've been hitting all night as communication. You know what I'm saying? Like there is a correct and an incorrect way to communicate. There is, just a right and wrong. Thank God that in His Word, He has shown us time and time again between other people's mess ups and other people's mistakes on what not to do and what to do and the consequences of their actions. You know what I'm saying? And not only the consequences of their actions and what they received in their lifetime, but what their children received, what 20 generations later receive, and what they're still going through, all because somebody didn't know how to communicate properly. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's even still that's one point like what Jermaine was saying earlier. Like, yeah, dude, man, in the 40s and 50s, don't raise your hand to a woman. The whole neighborhood to get you. You know what I'm saying? Straight up. And I mean, it's a whole different subject, but about where we started closer to a Christian nation, even in the earlier days, that just wasn't allowed. So I think indefinitely communication and but communicating in the proper manner, like Leonard was saying. Don't be condescending people. Ain't nobody gonna try and hear you if you sitting there like poking them with a broom or beating them all day. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like I really just want to take I'll say really the example of just Jesus and how he always spoke to people. There were some people who needed to be rebuked and some people who did not get the time of day. There was a lot of other people that he didn't have the time for, and he told them that he didn't have the time for. And there were other people who he was like, look, you know what? I got a story about it. Do you want to hear it? Here it go. And
something like this.
yeah, and he really proceeded to break it down. And he did that because he loved them. And that was one way that he loved them. And we're called to the exact same thing. We're called to love people like how he loved people. And raise them up like how he got raised up. Exactly.
I think something that we can do as Christians, one is show that we're taking care of it in our own house first, because you'd be surprised. Some people might be surprised that a lot of these things that we're talking about is actually happening within the
Christian home.
In the Christian homes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then people who are not. Who are not saved or who hasn't made that decision yet, they're like, okay, well, I know for a fact, somebody in my family, they're avidly at church and blah, blah, blah. And I know he smacks his wife around on a regular basis or something like that. I think we need to first be an example in our own home so that we can show them the right way of how to operate. I mean, you need to take care at home, and then you can help others as well. It's rampant. It's actually very rampant in the Christian community. And it is. I think that's actually deplorable. It's a horrible shame. And I think we do need to love on them. I agree with that. We do need to love on them, and not make them feel like they're horrible. But you have to make a stance as well. You can't coddle. You can't. Mm-hmm. You can't coddle it and be like, oh well, amen. And you gotta take a stance on it, and you have to be firm in that aspect, but you have to do it from a love standpoint. And I think that's the key to it.
I definitely agree with Erica. As Christians, we do have to set the example. And I recall last year listening to Michael Basin, and there was a show about domestic violence. He does those a lot on Mondays. And it was one episode where the lady was talking about her pastor told her to stay in an abusive relationship. because it's her husband, she shouldn't be trying to get a divorce and everything like that. So it's definitely, you need to have that education on how relationships are supposed to be. And it has to, if you're in church, I mean, that's something a pastor should be talking about, not telling a person they should stay in a relationship to get abused because they're in a marriage union. But, you know, going back to Ephesians 5, the church is supposed to be without blemish or spot. You know, that's how Christ is supposed to love the church. That's how a man's supposed to love his wife. And of course, going back to women, respect, you know, the Bible also says we're supposed to respect our husbands. So, you know, getting back to knowing what love is within the relationships is a great key for us as Christians to be that example. And, you know, once people can see that we're as Christians doing what we're supposed to be doing, then they will want to listen and follow suit.
What happened to that lady?
She ended up dying.
Dying or was killed?
Well, she was killed because he killed her.
Whoa. I just want to piggyback off what everyone was saying this evening in terms of how, as Christians, we can do better to, you know, be a solution and not a part of the problem. It's just definitely better communication, love, being good examples as we should be, and also being, you know, like I kind of stated a little earlier, just being transparent, being open and naked, because, you know, people, they want to feel like, you know, they're speaking to someone that can relate to them. So as Christians, you know, I believe that's something that we can do better. You know, we're still people. I mean, yeah, we are supernatural because of the blessing, but, you know, still people want to know that, hey, this person understands me. So, you know, it is definitely a whole love thing also. And as we're growing, we desire to see other people grow into a perfect love like we know. So, you know, that's something we definitely, as Christians, to be, you know, to bear arms will have to do is just really, you know, be very good examples first at home, definitely with our character, you know, because the character says a lot about who you are no matter what you are. So I believe that's it.
Yeah, one last thing I just want to drive home is being that true friend, because everyone has a true friend everyone needs a true friend that they can talk to about anything at all whatsoever. It doesn't matter. I know you're not going to judge me. I know you're not going to run around and say something behind my back. I know you're not going to use it against me later on as ammunition. You know, when you have something like that, that's an avenue where you can now dump pressure off. You're not so close to your threshold because you have someone you can talk to bring you down. And then it doesn't get to that point where things escalate and now you have hit your significant other. So, like I said, on next show, I want to come back to this topic and drive home the effects that it has on kids. Because in this certain